So a lot of people think that the Bible is completely against women, that it's this oppressive book against women. Um, but the Bible actually is very protective of women when you understand it from the culture that it's coming from. Um, and a lot of what has been translated in the Bible, even though it presents this idea of women versus men, it's typically not women versus men in the original language. It's typically husbands and wives. So when you see that it's translated as women just in general, you need to stop and ask yourself, is this really what it's talking about? Um, because sometimes it is, but most of the time, especially in the New Testament, it's not. It's talking about wives in relation to their husbands. And that's a very different dynamic, because when you start saying that all women everywhere have to submit to all men everywhere, that becomes very dangerous. That's a very dangerous philosophy. Even when you say all women within the church have to submit to all men within the church, that can be very dangerous. Because what if some of these men have some dangerous ideas and they don't have self-control? Um, but if, on the other hand, you're saying wives submit to husbands, well, that fits with what we see back in Genesis. And it goes all the way back to why men were created, why women were created. So that fits. And when you read that women are supposed to do this and do that, and that this ritual is in place and that ritual is in place, a lot of times when you understand it from the culture that it's coming from, a lot of these rules that women are supposed to follow are there to protect them in one way or another. And that comes through loud and clear when you start when you start looking at the wedding rituals, and you understand why all the wedding rituals are in place. There are a lot of wedding rituals that are there specifically to protect the woman. So overall, the Bible is extremely protective of women, and it's not against them at all. It just says you need to follow these rules, and it doesn't tell you why. But the reason why is because if she doesn't follow those rules in that particular culture, it could cause problems.